Hey guys, it's Callous. Excited to kick off Callous Invitational 7, the final Callous Invitational. We're in play-ins, we're in the Aqua bracket, and it's Leo and JimCool with their round 1 of play-ins pairing. You guys, if you've been following the channel for a while, should be relatively familiar with both of them. Leo is kind of a veteran of my tour by now. He has played play-ins last year, and he's played in both Callous Crew Challenges, I believe. JimCool also in play-ins last year, made it to the finals, but did eventually lose out to Pac, who of course went on to the main event. And he's hoping to one-up that this year and punch his ticket to the main. Leo, a year or two ago, was like really peaking in ADV and was making a deep ladder run, almost 1800, and was playing quite a bit. Not sure if that's still true today, but the talent is there to where I was very comfortable inviting him. And then Jim also, heavy ADV player at one point, lately with his channel, ADV every now and again, but also focusing on other tiers. I know he dabbles into current gens, has dabbled into black-white, so on and so forth. So that's our matchup here today. Like I said, the first match of what will be, as always, a very long, many matches Callous Invitational, but this really truly is the last one. So I hope you guys appreciate it while it's here and enjoy the ride. Here's game one, baby. Leo and Jim. Leo is on the bottom, and Jim is on the top. By the way, haven't seen any of these games. Woke up, and here we are. So it's going to be a Hari lead for Leo, and Jim has a T-Tar, obviously Hariyama with the advantage, and he knows to just go knock off on turn one because it's very hard for Tyranitar to stay in and just die to the stab, brick break, or cross chop, or whatever the fighting move would be. So usually Hari is on stallier teams, as is Leech Seed, Recover, Bulky, B, so it kind of looks that way, but Metagross is not usually on stally teams, so I'm not totally sure what Leo has. I guess kind of like a defensive-leaning balance. For Jim, it looks a lot more like a standard TSS, but it's interesting. He's got 3 electric weaknesses, the Scarm, the Coon, the Arrow, without having shown, I mean, Celebi's a resist, but he hasn't shown an immunity yet, and his resist is Dugtrioable, so I could see having some real issues with electric, Zapdos, less commonly Raikou, whatever. That probably won't be applicable in this game, though. Leo's team isn't exactly an offense, or at least it doesn't look like it. Hidden Power there is going to be the first knockout of Callous Invitational. That's HP Bug, of course, taking out B. And here comes a Brick Break, hitting the Celebi. Hidden Power coming down, that's HP Grass, perhaps thinking that Claydol or Tower would come in, which it didn't. So Leo evens it up. And the full team now revealed for Jim as he shows Last Poke Magneton. Brick Break super effective against Steel. That guy is out of here, and Leo retakes the lead. And now the full teams are known for both guys as Salamence comes in, intimidating Tar and blanking EQ. Metagross on Arrow. Meta should have the advantage here. Stays in, goes for the mash. Hits the Suicune with it for 21%, no raise. Intimidate probably doesn't matter here. Scarm could have Drill Peck, gonna protect up. And we discover that it's a Wishmense, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's entirely defensive, though. There is definitely such thing as 3 special attacks plus Wish, 2 special attacks Brick Break Wish, what have you. Aerodactyl going to go for Earthquake into Doll, who's got nothing better to do apparently than Rapid Spin. And there's EQ connecting with Tar. Salamence comes in, Intimidate. And there's Arrow again. Back and forth, but Leo just a little bit ahead. He's going to lock Rock Slide into Doll. Obviously, Double Edge in hindsight would have been better, but he didn't know what he's going to be against. And Leo overpredicts it, goes for EQ. At this point, he's going to go to Meta, another Rock Resist. And that's going to go for Rock Slide, hoping to hit the Arrow, but instead it's going to bounce off Coon for 21%. Surf is going to do 51%, and EQ is obviously more than Rock Slide, but it doesn't kill. T-Tar comes in on the rest turn, and we have only seen Surf and Rest, so we don't know if it's Crocoon, and now we do, but he finds the one move that doesn't matter in his sleep, which is just Rest again. This time he finds Calm Mind. Doesn't make a difference for physical hidden powers, but that looks like HP Grass, so it's going to do less each time. And out of the way he goes as Surf comes down. decent chunk, 38%. Gonna click rest here just in case Mence had attack, Dragon Claw, HP Grass, what have you. And he does have HP Grass, 22% is what we're looking at here. But he finds yet another Calm Mind in his sleep. And Leo's looking like he might have to boom on this to get out of it. Assuming that it is, in fact, last move boom for meta, which it should be. But the boosts are getting out of control pretty quickly here. That's a 59% surf. Obviously, Mence not about to live another one from that HP. He fishes for a crit with HP Grass that doesn't come. Mence super dead to that surf. Claydol, even at 100, is not going to survive a surf. And he feels that he has to boom on it, which I would agree with. And crucially, he outspeeds as well. So that leaves us in a 2-2 situation. However, the two for Leo are both weak to Earthquake, so it's pretty obvious what Jim should be locking in with Choice Band. Couple Earthquakes later, and JimCool takes game 1 against Leo. Let me interject real quick at this point. Won't take too long. Remember, guys, this tour relies very heavily on donations, and more than ever, I want them and I need them for this tour, because this really is the last CI. I want to break last year's record and go out with a bang, which was just shy of 2,600, so that's the golden number that I want to hit. We're at about 800 right now, which is a great start, but obviously a long ways to go. And if we happen to hit 3,000 plus, then I'll be very happy, and I'll be able to walk off into the sunset feeling pretty good. But let's try to beat last year's record with donations. Like I said, 2,600 is our target number. If you're able to contribute, it's fast, it's easy, it's completely safe, it's via PayPal. I don't keep any of it. You are strictly supporting the tournament when you donate, so please consider doing that. So here's game 2. Leo is going to need 2 in a row. Otherwise, it is going to be JimCool going to the second round of play-ins for the second year in a row. And Leo, by the way, last year exited the first round of play-ins. That's obviously something he doesn't want to do twice in a row. So let's get to it. Leo's on the bottom again. JimCool's on the top. Swampert and Rachi become Swampert and Celebi, become Skarmory and Celebi. And he's going to stay in an HP Fire on what is an obvious Spike's turn. So some kind of special offense, perhaps, for Jim. Protects there, thinking maybe Celebi will stay in, but we end up Skarmory on Skarmory instead. But Jim is going to be unhappy to find a Magneton in the back, and the damage roll, presumably holding Magnet, is going to go his way. Does not let Skarm get a second lair, and we've got ourselves a 6-5 game. Leo with the lead, and they both have a lair of spikes. Here comes Bliss for Leo. Comes in on a Fire Punch that doesn't matter and gets 20% burnt, which also doesn't really matter. It's a little extra damage, but who cares? However, that matters. It is a surprise mix set for Jim. HP Fighting coming down. And this is why I don't like Mixed Jirachi. You got him. Leo didn't see it coming. It was super effective. You know what you got for that? 37%. That just does not seem good enough to me. Jabba and some other people that I know and that I like and that I trust are fans of Mixed Jirachi. I think it's garbage. To each their own. Regardless, we end up with T-Tar on Swampert here. Rock Slide coming down, misses, wouldn't have done a lot. We end up Pert on Pert. Ice Beam doesn't matter here unless it freezes. The damage is very minimal. Notice, though, that Swampert for Jim is not gaining leftovers. We're probably looking at an Endeavor Pert, and Roar does not mean it's not an Endeavor Pert. That is sometimes the last move on that particular set. So it certainly looks like an offensive Spikes team, kind of, sort of Ferdazi-ish. For JimCool, like I said, it's almost certainly an Endeavor Pert. The no lefties, a dead giveaway, almost always. Aerodactyl coming in for Leo. And for Jim, real weird. Speed tie here, either one of them comfortable with it? No, out of here for both. Neither one wants to flip a coin to potentially lose their Aerodactyl. Can't blame them. Earthquake there for Leo. Gonna connect with Celebi. Not a huge deal. Still very healthy. 73% as Arrow comes in. And it's gonna eat a not very effective hidden power that we already know from earlier is Fire, but it is a crit, so it gets him for a third. And that's HP Flying or Bug, which is obviously not going to do it against the opposing Arrow. But Jim doesn't click Rock Slide either. Goes for Double Edge and lands a crit. Jirachi comes in, still paralyzed from before, and that's going to let Leo get a second, and if he wants, a third lair, which he does go for, and Jim can't remove that. 4 of his 5 remaining pokes are all grounded, so those spikes are absolutely going to be relevant for him. Leo also gets a KO, so he's looking pretty good in this game, I think, and the Toxic there matters, unless it's Refresh Pert, which we know it's not going to be. So I feel pretty strongly that Leo's going to send us to a Game 3. Certainly looks that way. Swampert here doesn't get a chance to get a single Endeavor off. It just dies to the poison. We've got ourselves a 4-3. Leo not only with the Mon's advantage, but also, like I said, with the 3 layers of spikes down beneath Jim's team. However, crucially, there is a world where Aerodactyl just gets there for Jim or for Leo. Certainly if Double Edge were to crit Swampert, for example, there really isn't a lot that he can do about that. Swampert is very healthy right now. It would survive even a crit from this current position. And now it doesn't matter that Aerodactyl goes down, but if Jim put just a little bit of chip on the Swampert and then got there with a crit, maybe there is a chance. But I don't think there is anymore, because even if the Celebi kills, say, the other Celebi here, it doesn't really matter, because Aerodactyl's going to come in. HP Bug is super effective against both Celebi and T-Tar. If this is HP Flying, Jim may have a small chance, but I think it's Bug, and we see that it is super effective. Rock Slide is the kill, so there's a 1-turn window here for T-Tar to outspeed and land a critical hit. He goes for the flinch instead. I think you're supposed to click EQ there and just get there with a crit, but he sees it differently and goes for the flinch. Does not get it, and Leo does get the Earthquake off that sends us to a 3rd game. Jim did make a little bit of a comeback there. It did look for a moment for sure like maybe Jim was going to pull this out and just make it a nice clean 2-0. Like I said, the Aerodactyl had a chance, especially with a little bit of chip or a little bit of luck, and then even at the end with exactly the way that it played, Jim went for the flinch rather than the crit. Fine. But had he gotten a flinch or two, or had he just gotten an immediate crit, then there was a chance for Jim as well. I think he should have Earthquaked rather than Rock Slided, because you need, I think, multiple flinches, whereas you just need the 1 crit. So I don't know that was perfectly played for Jim, but I digress. Even the way that it played, it was winnable for Jim, even though luck would have been required. But he doesn't get there, and Leo's going to send us to a 3rd game. One of these guys going to be eliminated in round 1 of play-ins from the Aqua bracket, and we're going to find out who. And like I said, I've watched 0 of these games. They happened at like 6 in the morning this morning, my time. I was definitely sleeping at that time. Did not see any turns of any of these games. No clue what's going to happen. Excited to see it for the first time, just as you guys are. So here it is, 3rd game. Who's going to be, Leo or Jim? Leo's on the bottom, Jim's on the top for the final time, and we have standard leads in Mence and Meta. They're both threatening to each other, and Jim's comfy with it. Leo's not. Boom is going to take out the switch in Milotic for Leo, who seemingly has a balanced team here. T-Tar in, Zapdos in. There is the champ. Obviously a big threat to T-Tar. He does hide behind a sub, though, and he's going to get a free attack off here. That free attack is Focus Punch, and it's going to hurt. 76% that's going to do, and it looks like the Machamp is faster based on who gets lefties first, so Leo does have to get out of the way, but he did a ton of damage there. Seems like Leo's a little bit ahead in this early game. Blissey comes into Charizard. That's always dangerous because sometimes it has beat up these days, but that's not what Jim went for, and it's not what he goes for here. He goes to Doll, and good thing he did because anything else would have been hit by that T-Wave, but Doll obviously is immune. Zapdos doubles in to an Ice Beam, a kind of obvious Ice Beam. I don't know about all that, but Zapdos certainly isn't about to live another. BP's out to the last poke Coon. Blissey, of course, is going to just Ice Beam again. Coon is going to resist that. 5-5 game. Leo hasn't shown 2 of his. There's Sub, and that's blocked, the T-Wave. So he's going to try to set up on him now. Presumably this is 404 HP, meaning Seismic Tosses couldn't break them, but he doesn't have Seismic Toss. He's got Thunderbolt, which is probably the worst case scenario for Jim. and out of the way he goes. Leo also anticipates Claydol coming in and not only hits it with a massive ice beam, but he also crits him and also freezes him. Jim has a one-turn window here to thaw and get a good boom off, but that does not occur, and Leo gonna outspeed and kill the doll with Shadow Ball from his own doll. Leaves us in a 5-4 situation. Machamp sneaks in on Bliss. Good play for Jim. Big opportunity to do some serious damage here, but out of the way he goes. Checking the speed tiers, it looks like the Machamp was faster there, so it was very curious to me that the Machamp got out of the way. I think you're supposed to stay in there, but he sees it differently. Rock Slide misses, so Jim catches a little bit of a break, but the beat up there was obviously predicting Bliss that didn't come. And here comes beat up again, doing paltry damage to Salamence here. Rock Slide going to miss for a second time, but it doesn't matter if Jim keeps just clicking beat up. Third time's the charm. Here's Tar. Switches it up hidden power. That is not HP Grass. That is HP Ice, which must be even more frustrating for Jim because he had two different opportunities there to HP Ice the Mence while it sat there and missed Rock Slides, but he couldn't do it. He overthinks it and he beats up twice. And if Jim loses this game, he's got to be kicking himself for not HP Icing the Salamence when he had not only the chance, but two chances. Regardless, he's going to be behind a sub with 2 CMs here, trying to absorb some of these T-Bolts. This one does pop the sub. There's a small chance for the Coon to get him here. CM again. Thunderbolt, sure, only 15%, not too bad. He can't substitute anymore, though, because he would die to Sand, so he's going to go aggro. 36% Surf, no choice but to eat the T-Wave, and now the Coon, while it still may or may not do damage, has no chance to sweep and win the game for Jim, because, of course, it is low health, it is paralyzed, and something will come in, probably T-Tar, and finish the job. Wow, Jim outplayed there as well. Machamp comes in, gets immediately bolted down. Obviously tried to sneak that in against Bliss. Didn't work out. Here's the T-Bolt. There's the soft-boiled. Leo looking real good to take this one down. It's going to be hard pressed for Jim with his very beat-up team to make it back in this one. Zapdos is low. Coon is lower and paralyzed. There's an opportunity for Jim. Had he landed a crit there, it would have killed the Claydol, but it doesn't come. Not that Shadow Ball kills Zapdos. One more chance. Alright, damage roll cooperates. Doll down. But how do you deal with the Blissey? Leo also still hasn't shown his last poke, and frankly, I don't know that he's going to. Zapdos goes down to Thunderbolt. Here's Zard. Beat up really not so exciting anymore when there's only 2 pokes. Going to go for Toxic and miss that. And Thunder Wave is pretty crippling. So both pokes for Jim are paralyzed right now with no way to remove that other than Coon having rest, which it's not going to have, being a substitute set. Toxic going to miss twice in a row. There has been a lot of missing in this game, but I don't think it matters at this point. And Jim agrees. He's going to concede. And it's going to be Leo who dropped game 1, making the comeback and taking this series 2-1. You know, I think in this third game, Leo outplayed Jim. Like I said, he had 2 opportunities to HP Ice the Mence, went for beat up instead. He also pulled back the Machamp on the Bliss, which didn't need to happen. There were a couple of other turns. It felt like Leo pretty much danced circles around Jim and outplayed him in this game, and it didn't feel like Leo was ever too far behind, if behind at all. He's going to win this one fairly comfortably with 4 pokes still up, and he didn't even reveal his last. I think Leo certainly deserves this game 3. Game 1, pretty close, looked good for Jim. Game 2, also close, could have gone either way, but it went the way it was supposed to go since there wasn't egregious luck at the end. And then game 3, probably the least close of them. Leo takes this one down and looks good doing it. So he is going to advance in the Aqua bracket. And we have no clue who he's going to be against because this is the very first game. But there is lots of CALLOUS Invitational content to come. Like I said, this really, truly is the final CALLOUS Invitational. And then I'm going to be walking off into the Pokemon sunset and doing other stuff with my life. So watch this tour. This is the time to do it. It won't be back. Subscribe to the channel. Watch the games. Consider donating. And there are so many more videos to come. I'll see you guys there. Thanks for watching.